Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Can't Be Explained. This is episode number 5. I am glad to be back. We took last week off. Um, Chargers are on a bye week. I was on a bye week. Let's just call it that. And we back. We ready to go for week 6, but this is episode 5. We'll be covering what happened last week in the NFL. Again, no Chargers game, so boo. But we got a lot else to talk about. We had Mahomes winning again. Unfortunately, they're 5-0. We had Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow dueling it out to see who can take over the AFC North. Joe Burrow them is trying to kind of get things going. They suck right now and they're 1-4. Offense is played good, defense is horrible, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Also, big news came out yesterday. The Jets fired Robert Saleh. They are what 2-3, I believe, and it wasn't pretty from Aaron Rodgers. I think Saleh was a scapegoat, but we'll get into that as well. What else? We had a lot of other stuff going on. I did bet. I didn't do a pod last week. I did do some bets last week. We did okay. But by the end of Monday, let me take that back. Let me take it back. We did okay with the spreads. We did a horrible player prop wise. So by the Monday night game, it was just kind of curtains. So hopefully we'll have a better player prop week this week. Keep it going on the spreads and the money line bets. But we got a lot to unpack. But before we really jump into it, you know the drill. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already. You can find me at Can't Be Explained on YouTube as well as TikTok. It's Can8300 on Instagram and Twitter. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And like I said, we're gonna kick off with, unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs. So what is there to really say? It's like the worse the team is, the better they are. It's like they don't have a running back. Their running back breaks their leg. They replace him with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt played for the Browns for 5 years, had 100 rushing yard game. Second game back with Kansas City, they he runs for 100 yards. And not to mention, before we even jump into this one all the way, let's take it back to week 4, where my Chargers played against the Kansas City Chiefs and we lost. And I wasn't that hopeful. If you remember the pod before, where I said, I don't know how it's going to be looking because we got, limping Herbert on one foot, one leg, whatever. We got Rashawn Slater going to be out. Joe Alt's going to be out. Derwin James was suspended. Um, we're Palmer was coming in limping. We still don't have DJ Chark back yet. So I just really wasn't optimistic about it all. And it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, what did you want from me? So we start the game, and I had some stuff to do, so I didn't get to see the beginning of the game. But I was checking it on my phone the whole time, and we start out, we taking the lead, we looking good. We up 7-0. We get an early interception from Mahomes. Mahomes takes out Rashi Rice. So I'm like, hey, we got a chance. We got a chance. And just like in Chiefs fashion and Chargers fashion, it just goes downhill on the back end. And Herbert, it wasn't great again. Again, dealing with that ankle. Couldn't really get any real separation in the second half. Chief defense has been pretty good, but I mean, we did better than I thought. We couldn't get the run game established. Defense was good until it wasn't. I think that was a matter of them having to be on the field so much towards the end of the game. We couldn't really get first downs. We couldn't really convert stuff. We had opportunities to win. We were in the red zone. Um, what they didn't give Palmer the first down on the fourth down, or the third down conversion that should have been. Didn't get that, which is he should have got the first. He really should have got a touchdown if he would have stayed up. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he slipped or what happened, but he still should have got the first at least and we had a new set of downs. But we had chances to win, typical Chargers game, and we didn't. It is what it is. So we move on to week 5. We going by. So hopefully the guys come out healthy. But Kansas City moves on to week 5. And like I said, at the beginning of this, they played the Saints. And they come out firing on all cylinders. And it's just Derek Carr throws a ridiculous interception. And I don't have anything against the Saints necessarily, right? But I hate Derek Carr just because he was a Raiders quarterback for so long. He had so much talking he could do, and he had that one really great season. I'm not going to take away from him, and he ended up getting hurt. He didn't. And after that, it's kind of like like Joey Bosa said it, if you get around him, get around his legs, get around him in the pocket, he gets scared, he's gonna give you the ball. And that's exactly what happened opening drive. And after that, it was just downhill. Like he couldn't get nothing going. Chiefs defense was just hounding him. I took unders in that game and they actually paid off. But I paired them with overs and some of the Chief players and that didn't happen. So but yeah, man, the big storyline, not even really the Saints in this. I mean, they've lost three in a row now after starting 2-0. I don't really care about the Saints. The bigger story is the Chiefs. Like I said at the beginning, man, they just keep getting better. It's like the worse they are, the better they are. No running back. Let's plug in Kareem Hunt. No receiver. Let's plug in Juju Smith Schuster. Let's plug him in. Kelsey looks washed. Oh, all of a sudden he doesn't look washed. Mahomes is throwing picks every week. It doesn't matter. We're gonna figure out a way to win. The defense is playing lights out. They they lose the cornerback to Tennessee. I'm spacing on his name right now, but they lose him to Tennessee. So doesn't matter. Defense looks great. Nick Bolton is flying around everywhere. Drew Tranquil, former Charger, flying around everywhere at the linebacker positions. Um, McDuffie looks good. Corner, it's just like it's crazy. It's like they're the best defense in the league, and then they have the best quarterback in the league, and they have the best tight end in the league, and they have the best coach in the league. So I guess if you have all of that, you're supposed to be good. You're gonna be 5-0. It just looks ugly. It reminds me of like when the Patriots back in the day when they were like really good and they were winning and everything. It's like you knew they were gonna win. You didn't want to bet against Tom, but at the end of the day, it was like you don't really want to watch the game. You know what I mean? It was ugly. They figured out how to win. It was just let's score first, let's get out to an early lead, and then just let us use the defense to get stops and then just run the ball. And that's kind of what they've been doing. And it's just kind of ugly brand of football. And it makes it worse because they're in my division and they're winning like that. So it's really, really upsetting me if you can't tell. But, you know, eventually the wheels have to fall off at some point, right? And hopefully, at some point this season, they'll lose a few and then they'll get beat in the playoffs and Kelsey actually retires or whatever happens. I just can't take them three-peating. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be us that do it, but I believe something has to happen, right? Like they're just doing too much. They're dominating the game, and it's really not fun anymore. It's like you want another team to win, even if it's not us. It's just like they're just not doing it, and it's just becoming not fun. It really is. So hopefully we'll see what can happen, but I'm not gonna bet against them. But I mean they're not gonna go 17-0. I mean, are they? They might, but I doubt it. Anyway, enough about the Chiefs. Let's move on to another big story that came out yesterday, Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday. Robert Saleh was fired by the Jets. And that's coming off the heels of their loss in London against the Minnesota Vikings. They lost by 6. Um, I said in the beginning when we kind of introduced the topic that I felt like Robert Saleh was scapegoated, and that's exactly what it was. It wasn't no other way to put it. It was he got scapegoated, and you go, okay, your first game, you look horrible against the 49ers. And everybody at this point, we think the 49ers are the 49ers. So it's like, oh, man, they lost to the 49ers, whatever. You come out and you win a game against the Titans. And then you win a game against the Patriots. And it's like, okay, you're back on track. You're 2-1. And then you drop your next 2, ugly fashion against the Broncos. You you lose with the team putting up 10 points, with the quarterback throwing for 60 yards. And they blame that on Robert Saleh. And then, which is crazy to me because I mean, if your defense is only allowing 10 points, I would think that the Hall of Fame quarterback is supposed to get you more than that. I don't care if it was raining. I mean, all I heard all summer was Aaron Rodgers is back. He's going to the Super Bowl. We got weapons. We got Garrett Wilson. We got Brees Hall. Mike Williams is going to come along, and we got Lazard, and the offensive line is improved. That's what I kept hearing. Right? The defense did their job. So what happened? I don't know. So that's kind of bad. And then you go over to Minnesota or over to London to play Minnesota. Defense again does their job. Aaron Rodgers, 2 interceptions in the first half, in the first quarter, and that just kind of put them behind. One of them went for pick 6, and then the other put them in field goal range. Sam Darnold didn't play good against that defense. Justin Jefferson had his worst game yet, but it was still a good game. And, I mean, the defense did their part for the most part. And then you got Aaron Rodgers, like I say, 2 picks, and then you throw a pick on the game-winning drive. How is that Robert Saleh's fault? I always been under the impression that if you hire a defensive coach or offensive coach, whichever one you hire, that side of the ball needs to be the strength of your team. Or at least if they're not the strength, then they're very good, but you might have something really ridiculous on the other side. For instance, when the Chargers hired Brandon Staley, our offense was way better than our defense. That's how I knew it was an issue. Our defense was somewhere between 23 and 30, 31, 32 every single year that we had him. You're a defensive coach. How is that the case? That's not been the case with the Jets. They have had a terrible offense with Zach Wilson and now with Aaron Rodgers. And Robert Sala's defense has been great ever since he got there. So to me, that just screams scapegoat to me. And then it's like a bunch of conspiracy stuff coming out. I don't know how much I want to kind of dive into that, but they're saying that he was fired because he wore a Lebanon patch. I believe he is Lebanese, and he wore a that patch overseas, and apparently that has something to do with his firing. Allegedly, again, this is conspiracy stuff. I don't really get into all of that, but and then and then it was another thing about how Rodgers didn't necessarily want him there, or they wanted Nathaniel Hackett, and then you can kind of see, however, you can kind of see this coming from a mile away. Remember, like against Tennessee, they were up 2 touchdowns, and then Saleh goes to hug. Rodgers all fired up. He comes out the field, and Rodgers kind of pushes him away. Like, why'd you do that? Like, why'd you have to do that? All of the comments in the offseason about the going to Egypt and the unexcused absence and stuff, you can kind of see all of this coming. And then the cadence thing, I think that was the boiling point last week when they lost to the Broncos, and it was like, oh, we might have to dial back our cadence because we had so many false starts. That's not necessarily what he said, but that's kind of how it was interpreted. He just said maybe we're not prepared for the cadences, not necessarily we need to dial it back. And then the reporter asked Aaron, and Aaron says, hey, let's, that's one way to do it, or you can hold the team accountable. So it's just, you can see it coming from a mile away. The craziest part about the whole thing is that this guy has done his job, I feel like. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a good coach because the team hasn't been good since he's been the coach. The defense has been good. So I guess as a defensive coordinator, he would probably would still have a job. But you're the head coach, and that's how it goes. The whole team is now your responsibility. So I'll say he did his job to get the defense playing at a level that it should be playing. So I'll say he did his job in that regard. But um, I still think, like, regardless, he didn't deserve to be. They said he was in his office, he showed up to work normal to go ahead and prepare for the Monday night game against the Bills coming up. And they call him, hey, the owner wants to see you. And then they fire him. Man, it's like, dang, that sucks, But, hey, let me go tell my players. No, come on. And security escorts him out. That's really messed up. And I think you got to think about that when you're going into like a hiring cycle. You're going to need a new head coach. So how you treat that last head coach is going to be a reflection of what you may or may not do to this new coach. And that's the same thing I've been arguing with the Panthers. It's like y'all keep bringing these coaches in, y'all give them a year and a half, whatever it is, and then you fire them. You don't go get them anything they need. You try to control the draft. You don't want this player to play. This management does this and does that, and then you fire them. What coaches want to gonna keep coming there knowing like, hey, if I don't get things turned around in a year, then I'm out. Especially in a situation where it's a lot to be done. The Jets situation is not a good job. It's not. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, you have that good defense, but how much of that was Robert Saleh? How much of that was Saleh coaching those guys up? Now that he steps out, is the defense going to take a step back? I don't know. Players will get older. The Jets have had good luck with health on the defense. That's probably going to regress at some point. They still haven't got the offensive line right, so that's going to be something that they have to figure out with the Nets head coach. Aaron Rodgers, is he going to play another year or two, or is this it? We don't know. If this doesn't work out, who stays, who goes? If Aaron Rodgers is there, do you want to come in and coach him? Because if a new coach comes in, normally how it works is the former coaching staff is fired, right? If Aaron's there and he's still wanting Nathaniel Hackett, what coach wants to sign on to that? I don't want to hitch my wagon to that, especially if I'm a new coach. Let's say like Ben Johnson goes there. Why would I want to go? Why would I want to leave Detroit and go to New York where I'm potentially going to be out the door in a year or two because Aaron doesn't want to cooperate with me? Or I don't even know if I'm gonna have a quarterback going into the draft. I mean, going into this next season. I don't know. So why would I want to take that job? I think, the people have been throwing around rumors like Bill Belichick might go there. I think Bill Belichick would not ever go there, honestly. Like, why would he? The Philly job might come open. That's gonna be a way better job. The Giants job may or may not come open, and that's gonna be a better job. And Bill has the ties there to the Giants. And then you got Jacksonville job is most likely going to come open. And I think, for I don't really care for Trevor Lawrence that much, but I think that's a better quarterback position than what you'll be looking at there. I think you'll have better, the receiver situation is good. I think the owner situation is way better there. It's nice and warm most of the time. And so I just think you have, more options out there if you're Bill Belichick. Why would you go there? And one to keep your eye on too is Cincinnati. Cincinnati job is really looking really shaky. And with that, we'll go ahead and segue right into that. That's perfect timing to bring this up. Cincinnati is 1-4, guys. 1-4. That was a popular pick to go to the Super Bowl. Some people had them winning the Super Bowl and at least bare minimum AFC championship. So 1-4 is looking real bleak. I'm not saying their season is over because they have some winnable games coming up. But 1-4 is just horrible. And the reason I say Bill Belichick might have that opportunity is because if you've watched this game, or these games, Zach Taylor, I think, has kind of ran its course. I remember earlier in the year just listening to different podcasts and different people around the league. They talked about how, we don't know with Zach Taylor. We don't know if he's good, if he's the guy, or if it's Joe Burrow, if it's the players. And it's kind of looking like it's the players. I mean, Joe Mixon is gone. That was big for Burrow. I know they replaced with Chase Brown and Zach Moss, but they're not Joe Mixon. So, I don't know that's a big part of it. Then you have this situation with T. Higgins not playing the first few games, and you had Jamar Chase wanting a contract. So you have all these disgruntled players coming in. Joe Burrow wants to be healthy, and then everybody wants to say, "Oh, well, Bengals, they always get off the slow start, and they go." You can't keep doing that in the NFL. You have to come out hitting the ground running, and that is an indictment on the coach. Why are your players not excited and hyped up and ready to win these games in the beginning? And not only are they losing games, but Burrow, I tweeted this earlier that Joe Burrow is now in his Justin Herbert arc. He is now in a situation where he goes out, he's going to have a top 10 offense. He's going to lead the top 10 offense, have these nice numbers. His defense is going to be bottom 5 to 7, and they're going to lose games. And that's what he's in right now. And Joe Burrow just got a new contract. Chase wants a new contract, and T. Higgins is a franchise tag, right? The offensive line is better. They, like I said, they got a pretty okay running game. The defense is horrible. And this is what happens with Lou and Arumo. Last year, your defense was hot. Year before that, they were hot. Go get a job. Now, this defense is horrible. If you guys don't turn it around, you're fired. Zach Taylor is fired. Neither of you getting picked up again for at least another season or two. So that's the risk you take. So now you're in a situation where, again, Joe Burrow is in his Justin Herbert arc right now. Hopefully Justin Herbert is getting out of that arc. And, you know, they're not going to get rid of Joe Burrow. So let's just go ahead and get that off the table. The next man up is Zach Taylor. So, I mean, he's kind of coaching for his life now, like the next few games. Like they're losing games horribly. Can't stop a nosebleed. Joe Burrow is playing amazing. Jamar Chase is playing amazing. T. Higgins is playing amazing. Their stars are doing what they need to do. Even at the end of the Baltimore game, 3 runs. I mean, a 50 yarder is not 52, 53 yarder, whatever it was. That's not gimme city. That you have to go out there and make it. Like it's a high probability that he might miss that kick. Joe Burrow has been playing amazing. I know he had an interception in the fourth quarter, whatever, but he played great up until that point. Give him a chance to go out there and pick up one first down at least. You run the ball, you take a couple knees, whatever you want to do. And instead of having to kick a 53 yarder, you kick a 30 something yarder. You might even score a touchdown to avoid all of that. But no, you're at home, you run the ball 3 straight times. I know they said that one of them he did call pass play and Burrow audibled out of it, so I'll give him that. But why are we running the ball on first and second down like that? Like, go be aggressive with your quarterback. Get the first down. Try to get the first down. If you don't get it, if you're still in the situation where you were like, oh, we're just going to be comfortable kicking a 53-yard field goal to win the game, what's the harm in throwing the ball a play or two? If you don't get the first down, you're still going to have to kick a 53 or 54-yard field goal. So go try to get it. Go try to win. So that was the most frustrating thing about watching it. And I know it's frustrating for the players. So yeah, he's coaching for his life. I haven't had a chance to look at their schedule, who they play next. I do remember just looking at it briefly earlier in the week and seeing that it wasn't extremely hard coming up. But he's going to be coaching for his life. And I just think that if things go sideways, we could look at T. Higgins being traded before the deadline. I would love for him to be a Charger because we would need it. But I could look at him being traded. He's a trade piece that they could dangle out there if they're still losing. Chase is probably going to get his contract in the offseason. Joe Burrow has come back and then they'll hopefully improve on the defense. But right now it's not looking good in Cincy. On the flip side of that, just real quick before we get out of here, Baltimore, I know I gave y'all hell. I know I talked bad about y'all to start the year out. I know I talked about Lamar, and I know all his fans been texting me and hitting me up and tweeting me and all that stuff. I know. But I am a big enough person to say when I am wrong. I still stand by what I said about the defense. I thought the defense was going to take a step back. It has taken a step back. Now, does it look better than what I thought? Yes, it does. Do I have faith that they'll get it more put together? Yeah, sure. I think it's a learning curve. I just thought early schedule would kind of put them back. But hey, I gotta give Lamar Jackson his credit. He has been playing lights out. Like that last game against Cincinnati was the best game I ever seen him play. From just a playmaking standpoint, a throwing standpoint, it wasn't just Lamar run the ball or let's get out to an early lead and just coast. No, he had to go win that game for them. If he didn't do what he did and put his Superman cape on, they would have lost that game. They would have been blown out in that game, actually. So with the defense playing bad, Derrick Henry ran the ball good early, and then it was starting to throw because we're down 10 points. We have to start throwing. And everybody in the building knew he was throwing, and Lamar Jackson just making play after play after play. So I give you your props, man. You're doing your thing right now. I know a few weeks ago I said Josh Allen was the early favorite for MVP. He is not doing too hot right now. That was a horrible game last game, but Lamar Jackson looks like he wants to repeat. So like I said before, I don't have anything against Lamar Jackson. I just thought sometimes that people overrate him, and I wanted to see a little more of what I seen Sunday. So if he can keep this up, he can move into that new number 2 spot for me. But as of right now, he is on fire. I think he's playing the best out of any quarterback in the league right now. And we'll see. We'll see how their season goes. But yeah, it was a lot of great games last week. We're gonna get ready to get out of here. But Chargers are back this week. We have the Broncos in Denver. We are favorite right now. I don't know how, but we're favorite -2. So hopefully we get healthy after the bye. We go cause some havoc in the divisional game. Super excited for that. Super excited to watch the rest of the games. I will be back on, let's call it Saturday, to give out picks. So we're gonna do some picks and see where we at, where we land. I gotta tally it up. I can't remember exactly what the percentage is of what we went so far. I think we're somewhere around about 43, 44% right now in the year for the picks, which isn't too bad, but we're gonna try to get up into at least about the 47 to 49 range, maybe even 50. That's really good if you follow betting at all. So yeah, let's go ahead and I will see you guys on Saturday to give out some picks. If you have anything in between time, you know how to get at me. Again, it can't be explained on all platforms except Twitter, and Instagram is Kent8300. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment on this post, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.